going on with ya, big dog?
Hey, other big dog, how's it going?
Well, as I always say, we're doing phenomenal. But if we aren't, we're 100% not going to let the beginning of our day ruin the rest of our day.
Funny that you mentioned that. I'm actually running into some problems myself. I'm trying to write a script for that new Hungry Burger archetype, but I don't know, every time I sit down and write something, it always feels like the jokes are so derivative. Do you have any ideas?
No worries, big dog. What you need is a new angle. You need a Leo de Burger.
Pardon?
Haha! With Leo de Burger, not only will you be able to cook like the chefs of our time, you'll smell like them too.
Okay, what's going on?
Nova, you're not thinking. Relish the taste of victory while you smell success. That's the Nouvelle way.
Callie, you're scaring me.
Oh, that does be the secret sauce that gets everyone excited about your buns. Leo de Burger. Beat the meat.
Okay, cool. I'll see how I can get that into the script. Bye. Dang, I'm hungry. Hello everyone, GoldenNova here, and we're continuing our coverage of Wild Survivors. Now, I know you're supposed to save the best for last, but this time around I just couldn't help it. Think of this as an appetizer before the final course, and good gravy, do we have some delights for you. Premiering in the September 2002 core set Spell Ruler, Hungry Burger was released alongside a wave of similar cards as the game's first ritual monsters. All of them were pretty bland, essentially being vanilla monsters that were usually highly statted, the only exception of which being relinquished. But even among the bad rituals, one thing stood out here. A sultry sword dancer and a creepy crustacean are one thing, but Hungry Burger is literally a burger that bites back. How do you top that? But unfortunately, like its compatriots, it would receive no follow-up, with Hungry Burger remaining a meme never once to be reprinted. And yet, it always remained with us, like an undigested kernel in our mind's stomach. Jokes abound that the Hungry Burger deck was right around the corner. Heck, we've even played Hungry Burger Turbo during progression polls. But wish for something long enough, and the monkey's paw will eventually curl one of its most dangerous and silliest fingers. So take a seat while I show you the menu, talk you through how our full course meal works, then find some side dishes to complement your entree. It's time to serve up the sauce with Nouvelles. Today's episode is brought to you by my lovely patrons and the fine people over at Dragon Shield. If you want to protect your cards with the strongest scales on the market that even come with their own lore while supporting the channel, use my affiliate link in the description. So what's the deal with Nouvelles? Well, they're a series of Dark Attribute Warrior or Beast Warrior ritual monsters with 1850 defense since, you know, Hungry Burger has 1850 defense, duh. And all of our newly released ones can be ritual summoned by any recipe card, and also have effects that tribute any attack position monster on the field while resolving some other kind of effect. Which makes sense, we'll be spending the whole duel serving our monsters up on a silver platter, might as well get our opponent's monsters in on the action. As for the setting, it appears we'll be having dinner at the upscale French restaurant Nouvelles Auberge à Table, where the resident chef's mastery of the culinary arts brings their dishes to life. And in this case, I mean literally, because each monster is a mix between a kind of dish or form of cooking and a demon from the Ars Goetia. But one of these chefs is about to make a discovery that will change the face of fine dining forever. In fact, let's meet the innovation now. Hungry Burger is a level 6 warrior monster with 2000 attack that's ritual summoned by the ritual spell Hamburger Recipe, which ritual summons Hungry Burger from your hand by tributing monsters whose total levels equal 6 or more from your hand or field. They otherwise don't do anything, but has become retroactively very important for some of our most powerful effects. But really, playing Hungry Burger should be its own reward. Don't you want to say that you've gone for game with Hungry Burger? Okay, now it's time to cover our new cards. Bouillabaisse de Nouvelles is a level 1 Beast Warrior monster with 400 attack, based on bouillabaisse, a form of stew that includes several kinds of shellfish, and Bur, a lion-headed demon. If this card is special summoned, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add an excavated Nouvelle card to your hand. Also shuffle the rest into your deck, and when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, or when this card is targeted for an attack as a quick effect, you can tribute both this card and one other attack position monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 2 or 3 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. Note that this doesn't care who targets this card, just that it gets targeted, something we'll be getting a lot of mileage out of. This acts kind of like our search card, digging 5 deep to find any of our Nouvelle stamped cards. Not all of them have that, but most of our important ones do. This means it can whiff, but Adamanticators make it work all the time, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Also, it activates when special summoned, not just ritual summoned. So if you bring this back out from the grave after you use the level up effect, you can do it again. Just don't try to use it too often, because that would be shellfish. Confirade de Nouvelles is a level 2 warrior monster with 800 attack, based on confit, a method that cooks food slowly over a long period of time as a method of preserving the food, and Forest, a demon that provides many boons, including imparting knowledge of herbs, which might be a little helpful when it comes to cooking. And if special summoned, you can target a spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. And like with Bouillabaisse, if this card gets targeted by a card, effect, or attack as a quick effect, you can tribute both this card and one other attack position monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 3 or 4 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. The back row removal is a little underwhelming, but since our smaller rituals tend to travel up the level chain, it's actually nice to see something like this so early on that can help deal with potentially disruptive back row. Or should I say, potentially crummy back row. Pickles de Nouvelles is a level 3 Dark Beast Warrior monster with 1200 attack and 1850 defense, named for Pula, a term used to describe pan-fried food, and Botis, a snake demon. And if this card is special summoned, you can draw a card. Pickles also has an effect similar to our previous two, but looks to see if any monster on the field is targeted by a card, effect, or attack, not just your own, as the activation trigger, and contribute any Nouvelle monster you control, not just itself, alongside an attack position monster on either field to special summon a level 4 or 5 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. This one's going to be a bit scarier for your opponent to navigate, because now you can bring the targeting party to your opponent's kitchen and you still get to cook, which can lead to them losing a monster and you gaining a really good one. And on top of that, it just draws you a card when it's special summoned, which I'm all here for. I love extra servings. Foie Glacia de Nouvelles is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1600 attack and 1850 defense, named after foie gras, bird liver, and Glacia Labolas, a demon that specializes in manipulation and murder. If special summoned, you can target up to 3 cards in any grave and shuffle them into the deck, and it also sports Pickles' effect on the targeting of any monster on the field by a card, effect, or attack, this time summoning either a level 5 or 6 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. That's right, we've got a shuffler on our hands, and none too soon because we actually kinda need this. With all the ritual level ups we're doing, there's one big issue. Hardly any of them are going to be summoned properly, so once the rituals are in your grave, they're stuck there. So having a way to get your material back into the deck is paramount. And thankfully, it comes with the added utility of messing with your opponent's grave as well, though since it activates off of being special summoned and not just as an activation like the Ishizu shufflers, you won't get to finesse quite as many tricky denials. But even if it's stuck at spell speed 1, you can still commit some foul play. Balamenier de Nouvelles is a level 5 Dark Beast Warrior monster with 2000 attack and 1850 defense, based on Meunier, a type of sauce and food preparation that's primarily used for fish, and Balam, a demon associated with bears and hawks. If this card is special summoned, you can add any Nouvelle or recipe card from your deck to your hand, and once per turn, you can target an opponent's attack position monster, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a level 6 Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand or deck. And this becomes a quick effect if this card was summoned by the effect of a Nouvelle monster. Now, this does make the whole tributing an opponent's attack position monster a targeted effect, not a non-targeting one, so the appropriate protection will apply. But for the value it can provide, it's unmatched. Your opponent loses a monster, you gain one, and it even becomes an interrupt if you summon this via your previous level up effects. Heck, it even gets you a theme to search when special summoned for your troubles to help extend your plays. This is easily one of our best monsters in terms of enabling our plays and as a payoff. Truly a 5-star experience. Begrelaire de Nouvelles is a level 6 Dark Warrior monster with 2400 attack and 1850 defense, which is based on grilled food, and Ball, a very famous demon, especially if you've played a few of them Shin Megami Tensei games. If special summoned, you can negate the effects of as many face-up cards your opponent currently controls as possible until the end of this turn. Then, if this card was special summoned by a Nouvelle monster's effect, tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. And as a quick effect, you can target an opponent's attack position monster, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a Hungry Burger monster from your hand or deck. Wow, that is so powerful. So to break this down, on summon we have a Dark Ruler No More that hits face-up cards, not just monsters, that then becomes a Nibiru but only for your opponent's monsters if summoned by another Nouvelle. And if your opponent tries to rebuild their board, or if you just weren't able to get that board wipe effect going earlier, you can swap an opponent's monster out for your Hungry Burger. This is just an all-around fantastic card, and you're sure to get a lot of information out of your opponent when playing this. You know, because you'll be grilling them. Alright, that's all our monsters, now it's time for the spells and traps. And since we're so focused on our ritual monsters, let's lead with our ritual spells. Recette de Poisson, Fish Recipe, is a ritual spell card that can ritual summon any Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you want to ritual summon. Then, if you ritual summon Berlabe, our level 1 ritual, you can add a recipe ritual spell card from your deck or grave to your hand except a copy of itself. This makes Fish Recipe one of those special ritual spells that's technically generic for the archetype, but because it specifically names one of its monsters, can be used with pre-preparation of rites, one of the best pieces of ritual support ever printed. So if you fulfill all the conditions on this, you get to search out your other ritual spell, and look at the top 5 cards of our deck for an on-theme card via our monster's summon effect, potentially making our ritual summon completely free. Now, that may seem odd, and I would agree that free food is inherently fishy, but here, I think it checks out. Recette de Viande, Meat Recipe, is a ritual spell card that works almost exactly like Fish Recipe. The only difference is that it name checks Confuras, our level 2, and the additional effect changes all of our opponent's defense position monsters to face-up attack position, something that would be ludicrously underpowered in other themes, but for us, sets up our opponent's monsters to be served up for our level up effects. And for what it's worth, Confuras comes with that spell and trap destruction, leaving your opponent's field cooked all the way through. Voici la carte, Here's the Menu, is a normal spell card that has you revealing 2 Nouvelle monsters with different names from your deck, and if you do, your opponent picks one for you to add to your hand. Shuffle the other into the deck, then apply one of the following effects depending on the monster type of the added card. If it was a Beast Warrior, you add Fish Recipe from your deck or grave to your hand, and if it was a Warrior, you add Meat Recipe from your deck or grave to your hand. Since both rituals are generic, it doesn't matter too much which recipe you get, but here's the cool thing. The monster listed on Fish Recipe is a Beast Warrior, while the monster listed on Meat Recipe is a Warrior, meaning that this acts kind of like extra copies of pre-prep, though sadly it's your opponent that gets to choose which one you get. But if you don't need to get your hands on your level 1 or 2 Nouvelle to get the bonus effects of your ritual spells, you can instead show your opponent higher level Nouvelles that you don't mind hard making, like our level 5 that searches you a card. That might not sound like a feasible option, but trust me, it's on the secret menu. Nouvelle l'Auberge à Table is a field spell card that, when activated, adds a recipe card from your deck or grave to your hand. Once per turn, you can place a ritual monster from your hand on the bottom of your deck to draw a card, and during your end phase, you can target 2 cards in your grave, including a recipe card, place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw a card. That means this works kind of like the Grand Spellbook Tower, which is famously an incredible draw engine. While not entirely like it, the draw happens during your end phase instead of your standby phase, which technically means you're not waiting as long to get the draw, but because you're in the end phase, you can't actively use it, so it's kind of a give or take. Though this means you are much happier to draw a hand trap off of this than with Spellbook Tower. But even outside that, this card is fantastic. It gets you one of your recipe cards on activation, which is great for your consistency. You can put rituals in your hand you don't need or want back into your deck to get a fresh draw, and then you get another by recycling your other cards during the end phase. Like we said with our level 4 ritual, having ways to shuffle your cards back into the deck is imperative, so this being another way to do so is quite welcome. And keep in mind that you only need to put back at least 1 recipe card out of the 2. That other card will likely be one of your Nouvelle ritual monsters to get them back in rotation, but it also means you can recycle powerful limited cards you otherwise wouldn't be able to play multiple of, though you'll want a way to search it since it does get set to the bottom of your deck. There is an argument as to which is better to focus on theme or staple cards, but we'll have to table that discussion for later. Recette de Personnel, Cook's Recipe, is a continuous trap card that can target a ritual monster you control to special summon a Nouvelle token, which is a level 1 Dark Fiend monster with 50 attack and defense, and if you do, its level becomes that monster's level. You can also send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the grave to ritual summon a Nouvelle ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose levels exactly equal the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. Cook's Recipe serves a few different roles here. One, by targeting your own rituals, you can trigger their effects, and gets you a spare attack position token that you can tribute away in case your opponent doesn't give you any to help with your level ups. And don't worry, even if you end up tributing the targeted monster to get its level up effect, you'll still get the token. It'll just show up at level 1. It also comes with its own way to ritual summon, though this one has to be exact, no fudging the numbers here. But if the token sticks around, it could be just the right level you need to bridge the gap. But you know, that makes sense. When you make your favorite dish, the particulars matter, right down to that personal touch. Recette de Spécialité, Chef's Specialty Recipe, is a counter trap card that you can activate in response to a spell or trap card or monster effect being activated while you control a Nouvelle ritual monster. You negate the activation, then if you control a monster special summoned by a Nouvelle monster's effect, you can destroy that card. And if you special summon a Hungry Burger, you can banish this card from your grave to tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. Yeah, this is a recyclable, searchable Omni-Negate, whether you grab it from your field spell or level 5 monster, serving the purpose of either keeping your plays safe or messing with your opponents. And it just so happens to come with a board wipe for when Hungry Burger hits the field. I also like that it ties back to the original hamburger recipe spell, seeing the meat chef's descent into the realm of fiendish cooking, and is ready to show the world who the real Burger King is. Okay, now that we've covered all the cards, let me show you a little something you can do with them. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to get a fully loaded Bala Minier in such a way that its quick effect is online, allowing you speedy access to Bay Griller. For this, we're gonna need Ohime, the Manifested Mikanko, either the level 3 or 4 ritual, either meat or fish recipe, and a card to discard. We're also gonna need Diviner of the Herald, but it substitutes any of these requirements. Now, a 4-card combo might seem a bit excessive, but each of these cards are extremely searchable. For instance, Menu can represent both the Nouvelle ritual and recipe, Preparation of Rites can be either Ohime or the Nouvelle ritual, the field spell can search you the recipe spells, and the draw from it can even help you dig for what you need. At best, you can do all this with a random card, Diviner, and Menu. Once we have everything we need, we'll summon Diviner, sending Herald of the Arclight from our extra deck to the grave to find the missing card out of our combo, if need be. If we already have everything, we can just grab a follow-up card. From here, use Ohime's in-hand effect to search Mikanko Water Arabesque, discarding the spare card in hand. Equip Arabesque to Diviner, then use its effect to summon Hare, the Sword Mikanko, from your deck. This equips the Arabesque to it, triggering Hare's effect to search a Mikanko equip spell from your deck. Fascinating Bird is the best option, but as long as the equip can be generic, that's all that matters. Now use the recipe spell to ritual summon your Nouvelle, using the Ohime in hand as material. Now go to equip Fascinating Bird to either monster, then if your opponent has no response, put your Nouvelle effect on the chain. Once it resolves, you can tribute both Hare and your Nouvelle to summon Bala Minier. At this point, if you haven't used your field spell yet, go ahead and use Bala Minier's search to grab the field spell, activate it, then use its effect to grab your counter trap, Chef's Specialty Recipe. If you already have used your field spell, you can just go ahead and directly grab the counter trap. Since our new level 5 was summoned by the effect of a Nouvelle, this represents a destroying Omni-Negate from Chef's Recipe, quick effect removal of an attack position monster with Bala, which in turn summons Bay Grill, which itself negates your opponent's entire face-up board and tributes all their monsters. And Bay Griller is another quick removal of an attack position monster that gets you Hungry Burger, which can lead to another board wipe if your Chef's Recipe is now in your grave. An absolutely wild end board off of a supremely searchable collection of cards. Alright, so that's all the Nouvelle cards, but what do we do with them? Well, our end board monsters aren't exactly topping the attack point charts, but they are really good at interacting with our opponent's board, so control is going to be our focus. We're going to leverage our card advantage into a board position that gives you a ton of answers, use those answers to eat up our opponent's options, then serve our opponent their just desserts when their shields are down. So what can we play to help them out? As shown in the combo, Diviner of the Herald and Ohime are great inclusions to the deck, and both are light fairies. That's where Cyber Angel Ben 10 comes in. If we only have our ritual monster, spell, and Ben 10 in hand, we can use the Cyber Angel as tribute fodder, and its effect will search out Diviner, which gets us the rest of the way there. And even it's searchable by preparation of rites. I love it. When it comes to support engines for ritual decks, the two big options are going to be Drytron and Incantations. But if we want to use Makonko, we're going to have to give up the Drytron portion, since summoning Hare would be a no-go. But honestly, that's fine with me. I love these little scrunglows. They help search you the cards you need and give you a lot of levels to work with. And with Chalice Slime not only being a standalone starter for the engine and also being searchable by preparation of rites, it's hard to go wrong here. And I mean, you've gotta have a drink with your meal, so it might as well be a nice cool glass of Mountain Dew. Since we're running a million different ways to get ritual monsters, why not add Illusion of Chaos into the mix? It basically searches out Magician's Soul, which can turn dead spells and traps into fresh draws to get your combo going, and is a free monster we can summon in attack position to help with fueling our ritual level ups. While Herald of the Arclight is a great foolish off of Diviner to fix our hands, don't forget that they can act as removal as well. Keep a copy of Ventus in your extra just in case you need the extra help. Dynamondo is probably one of the best utility monsters we can have in our extra deck. If you trigger this and target one of your Nouvelles rituals, this is an immediate way to access the level up effect if you find yourself with a bunch of monsters, but no targeting effects. And if you just keep Dyna around, you can either revive a properly summoned ritual or put one back in your hand, your choice. As for a silly tech pick, I've gotta go with Eater of Millions. Yeah, haha, it's got a big appetite, so we're gonna feed it some dinner, but seriously, this helps us out in a couple of ways. One, it's a free monster we can summon that will fuel our level up effects, but two, it's a way of non-targeting, face-down banishing a problem monster, or just baits removal so the rest of your plays can move forward uninterrupted. And that's all I have to say about Nouvelles. The theme is certainly an odd one, held up by a lot of existing ritual infrastructure, but it's got some pretty interesting lines of play that can lead to some devastating combos. And this is just the beginning. As is the way with deck build packs, more support is surely on the way, so we could be on the cusp of seeing the most powerful ritual deck to date. Those are some big shoes to fill, I know, and with my luck the support won't be that good, and at that point I'll have to eat my own words. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Are Nouvelles the mouth-watering delight for the distinguished palates among you, or did the Dasher show up late, the food was cold, and half of it was missing? And normally, I'd ask which one is your favorite, but we all know it's Hungry Burger, no contest. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments, and while you're down there, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode was brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. When you want to protect your cards with the power of dragon scales, get some sweet lore for them, and support the channel, check out my link in the description to get started. This video was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander Green Knight, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, Adam Zajdel, Andrew Newman, Avi Chali, Kane Senpai, Cameron Berg, Chibi Gohan, Colin Todd, Eric, Frankie, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Gloomba331, Great Big Pillock, Hairbear, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Howling Zangetsu, Ironic, Iskander711, Jester Designs, John Manji, Jordan, Julius Sneezer, Mana Charge, Marluxia Zagirl, Meteornus, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, Rem T Bright, RJ the Jank Monarch, Ruxith Sarani, Sammy Haim, Salen Lucius, Sophie, apparently, the Charizard Flame, the Fresh Prince of Conair, the Wizard Moose, and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders, Ariel Kersey, Bear Sharktopus Studios, Chaz Ghost, Childish Lamar, Chris Kessler, Corbinisms, Danny Bound, Drachenwald, Emily, Eva Padilla, Gatorade, H2O, Gatorade, H2O, Johnny sucks, he really sucks, Haro, Herbal D, Jesus Garcia, Kale the Dragon, Carp, King Scarlet Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lord Whoop-De-Doo, Manga Pages, Marion James E. Picata, Matt Simmons, Nitromo, Shooting Star 3300, Star-Lord 777, Superpurd, the Legendary Raven and Tucker Ordorn, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. I'm only able to continue doing this thanks to the support of these lovely people. So if you'd like to help support the channel, get your name in these credits, and get my videos earlier than anyone else, make sure to check out my link down in the description for my Patreon to see if I have anything you'd like on offer. And if you'd like to see another wacky, quirky ritual theme that plays from some very interesting angles, check out this video I made covering Mikanko. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.